prepared. We are entering deep and dark waters of shtF. Yes, welcome back to the bunker, folks. We're going to hunker in the bunker. Welcome to the Prepared Mind channel, where we talk about all things shtF. Folks, it is hit the fan. And we can't get a straight answer out of anybody. I'd like to know what the ever-loving shtF is going on. I mean, didn't we hear that the nation is just about all the way vaccinated? Didn't we hear that? Then why is it we get a report that fully one third of U.S. healthcare workers have refused the Jim Jones juice? How come we've heard that? How come there's a report just today on that? What does that mean? What is that telling us? It tells us we're not getting the facts, we're not getting statistics, we're not getting the straight shot, we're not getting anything. Folks, one of the groups of people that everybody loves to make fun of, the TSA, right? The TSA, you know, the airport gropers, those guys. The TSA, up to 40% of them have said, you know what, not doing it, no Jim Jones juice for me, despite the fact that the mandate deadline is coming closer. I really like the use of the word deadline when referring to, have you got the jab yet? So I guess maybe TSA workers are smarter than we gave them credit for. If a full 40% have said, ain't doing it, buddy, ain't doing it, you know. Many sectors of the nation, folks, big sectors like police, law enforcement, first responders, rail workers, and other unionized labor groups, and of course the state of Florida, report very high rates of FU immunity. FU is their choice of immunity. We're getting big reports of that. But I thought, according to other, you know, most trusted name and news type sources, that we were like at 80 or 90%. That is just a few more there's just a few of them. And since there's such a small percentage, we should call them dirty names, threaten to throw them in prison, take away their rights. Oh, folks, this is going to get stupid. What the fuck is going on, right? Well, there must be something to hide in all of this. They're hiding facts and statistics. Let's find out what is being hidden. Well, the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, folks, they've said that they want to wait until the year 2076 to fully release the Pfizer vaccine information, the Pfizer vaccine data. Why do we need to wait 56 years? Is this a national secret, a national security secret? How in the fuck does a judge, and pardon my French, go, yeah, I'm going to grant this 55 years? Under what authority? You know, it is beyond my comprehension, folks. Now, what I can comprehend is dealing with today. Dealing with today. We look out the window, we look down the street, we make some phone calls, we can deal with today. I could deal with the information from FDA today, but they're not going to give it to us. But we do have somebody who is standing for truth, folks, who is standing up to evil. And that is the master trolling man himself, Governor DeSantis in Florida. He is the savage guy. He is signed into law. And other states, please mind to listen to this guy, folks. He signs into law, right, that vaccine mandates are outlawed in the state of Florida. And not only did he do that, but he did it in the city of Brandon, Florida, at the Brandon Honda dealership. A proper let's go Brandon moment for the US of A, folks. Go DeSantis, go Florida. Every free state needs to be as free as possible, folks. Right? Can you handle it? I can handle it. If you recall, This fight over freedom has gotten really extreme. Roger Stone, who I consider to be kind of extreme, you know, he's not a criminal. He's not an enemy of the country. He's not a communist. They're kind of a weird looking dude, but you know, he's just another guy. Let him be weird. Let him be strange. Let him be eccentric. Why not, right? He was saying he was going to run against Governor DeSantis unless he started doing some things that Roger Stone thought were appropriate. Well, interestingly enough, Roger Stone has come out and said that Governor DeSantis is doing the right kind of things. Right? He had a personal meeting with DeSantis and confirmed that there is action taking on election integrity and other key concerns. You know, a lot of people would think Roger Stone, he's really an eccentric guy. But I think it was a very famous person who said, extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice. Folks, I would say that Governor DeSantis over there in Florida is doing a damn good job. I say it, my brothers say it, everyone seems to be saying it. We need more people to stand up, and it's happening, I guess. I guess the TSA workers are standing up. I guess there's still a lot of doctors and nurses standing up. Good. Stand up and fight against tyranny, folks. Right? We're going to have more of this. More lunatic left ridiculous behavior. Mainstream media, the MSM, you know, the most trusted name in news is CNN. These people like to pretend like they have integrity, but it turns out they're just fucked up. They're a bunch of political hacks pretending to be media. It's propaganda and they're lies. Anyways, at the Kyle Rittenhouse courthouse, MSNBC has been banned from the trial and the courthouse. A reporter was arrested, ran a red light, was stalking the jury bus. Unbelievable, folks. To what purpose? What we know is that the left-wing components seem to collaborate with one another, right? Like, for some reason right now, there's a lot of building materials being shipped into Kenosha, Wisconsin. No one seems to be doing anything about it. Mainstream media isn't reporting it. And if you use the B word, you might get your video taken down or at least demonetized. Yeah, the mainstream media doesn't report what they should. When they do report, they lie. And right, things they don't report, fuck it. You know, we don't need that. We don't need to know why reporters are following around buses full of juries, right? It's not part of the news story, right? Except we also know that we seem to find out that Antifa and BLM, they harass people at their homes. They like to dox people, that is, reveal their names, locations, identities, phone numbers, social security numbers, so they can do what? Oh, in this case, they have threatened and harassed, or threatened to harass and then threaten further this jury in the Rittenhouse trial, unless they find him to be guilty. They are a corrupt bunch, folks, a very corrupt bunch. I think the mainstream media is a big part of the corruption. Unbelievable. Now, this is a very fascinating story, folks. I can't read it here. I want to say the headline, folks, that a company called Pfizer lied, but I can't tell you anymore. It is a bombshell article, and it's only available on The Prepared Mind at Patreon. I hope that you get it. There's videos on Patreon from Brighteon, from other not so censored news sources that we have. And that's really what you guys have been doing, and that is keeping all of us extremely busy learning the truth and finding facts. It's amazing that the information you know, the information that I know, I come here every day with real information, and I'm not even allowed to say the words. I can talk about some topics. I can point to some stuff that's going on that's visible, but I can't really tell you the whole truth. Right? But I can definitely link you to it at the Prepared Mind on patreon.com. So again, for those of you who are here, I want to thank you. For those of you that watch this after it goes out live to Patreon supporters, this is why. That's it, folks. They want to censor us. They want to silence you. They want to silence me. They want to deafen you. Folks, if you're not allowed to talk, if no one's allowed to talk, how are we supposed to hear? You know, the video I did last was, I thought, really good. It was started with an email from one of our excellent subscribers / viewers out there. And it's about being able to talk and think. They take away our ability to talk and to hear others. We're not going to be able to think as well. Right? I study and gather information from a lot of different people, folks, from around the world. And I would say that that contributes to my ability to make intelligent decisions. If they don't let us talk, folks, how are we supposed to? Well, that's just it. They don't want us to. Did you know, though, that there are 20 studies, folks, 20 studies exposing the mandate? There's 20 studies that are saying the mandate is not based on science, good health practice. You know, but the government says that, you know, if you have a business with 100 or more employees, there's going to be some vaccine requirements. And the courts are fighting this out. It fascinates me to no end how difficult a decision this is. And it is politicized, folks, but politics isn't neutral ground. Politics isn't, shall we say, benign. Politics is part of who we are. In fact, I want to thank Dr. John for sending me an article, in fact, 2 articles talking about how the way our minds are wired psychologically also creates our political belief system. Pretty interesting. This is all coming together, right? If you shut down certain parts of the mind, you become more politically bent. In other words, if you're an ignoramus, you're not going to be able to fully and properly use your mind if you've been kept ignorant, which is why the founding fathers of this country said education was so important, and that a general education was very important to help create a well-rounded mind. What do we have today? It's not about studying history. It's about studying woke belief systems. Math is racist. We don't need to study math. You know, they're doing less education in school and more indoctrination. It is pretty scary. And what the system has turned out is people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She thinks she's fucking brilliant. She's one of the farthest things from it. Imagine this, folks. Imagine if Kyle Rittenhouse, after he is acquitted, imagine if he goes to Washington, D.C. and gets a job as a congressional intern, right? If, right? Imagine the anger. Imagine the AOC fear in D.C. of having an actual red-blooded American in the District of Columbia, in Congress, in the building, walking around, talking, making his presence known, sharing his opinion, his ideas, right? Well, today, Matt Gaetz, representative out of Florida, Republican, basically trolled the world, made the joke, floated the idea. I'm not saying it can't come true, but imagine that. Imagine if Kyle was allowed to speak. a walking, living, breathing example of a free American who's allowed to defend himself in the halls of Congress, right? You want to talk about scaring the living shit out of people, kind of like when Big Marge started saying, you know what, enough of your horse shit in here, enough of your woke crap, take your rainbow flag and shove it, and started a bunch of trouble, and she is in trouble. She's in big trouble. So is Louis Gohmert, representative, and then Representative Boebert out of Colorado. She got up and read the riot act, scorched earth, let Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the squad hear about it over this censoring of Gohmert because a tweet based on Japanese anime was created and released. And the Democrats claim it was a threat to the president and a threat to AOC, right? The terror squad in Congress, as I like to think of them, is so offended by that they feel threatened. They have no idea what it's like to actually feel threatened, folks. They have no idea what it's like to actually feel threatened, to have somebody pointing a gun at them, to have somebody able to take their life. They have no idea, not a clue. They are a bunch of coddled little bitches. All right. And speaking of that, the Treasury nominee, Biden's Marxist Treasury nominee, Saleh Omarova, turns out, according to court records, that she had some sort of thieving going on in her life. That's right, criminal. I guess she believed that since the store had the means to provide that which she needed, that she may as well steal from the store. Well, I guess she is perfect for the job as Treasury Secretary. She's perfect for the job, folks. She'll be great at stealing from the Americans, right? She wasn't even born in our country. How is it our treasurer in the United States of America can come from another nation and she still hasn't released, folks? She did a educational college dissertation, I think, on Marxism. In other words, we have a blatant communist being considered as a Treasury Secretary. Unfucking believable. What the hell is going on? Not only that, not only is she a Marxist, being born in a Soviet or a communist country, the Soviet Union, right? She's also, there's court records that talk about her being a thief. You know, we're going to find allies, folks, in the strangest places. We're going to find enemies very close to us and near to dear to our places, our hearts, our homes. What we're looking for in our lives, I think, as preppers, as Americans, as citizens in the world who wish to be free, is we're looking for leaders. And I continuously talk about DeSantis, probably him the most, because he is the most vocal against the Biden regime, the Biden socialist regime. But, you know, other governors are standing up. The one in Virginia, I believe, is, the governor-elect, has decided that, well, he's not going to make any mandates, any vaccine mandates, but he's not going to stop local mandates if they come up. You know, this half-assed idea of being about freedom, it doesn't matter. It's not good enough. Yeah, he doesn't have a D in front of his name, but he's not much of a Republican if he's not saying, hey, look, not going to happen. Now, I understand political realities. If the legislature won't pass laws prohibiting vaccine mandates, I understand that the governor can't do much beyond that, except maybe an executive order. And as we know, executive orders or mandates aren't really law. It's a mandate. This country needs to figure this shit out, folks. What is truth? What is justice? And what is freedom? We want real leaders. Well, here's one for you. The Archbishop Carlo Maria Vignano has called on people of faith, Catholic people of faith, to unite in a worldwide anti-globalist alliance to free humanity from the totalitarian globalist regime. The leaders are there, folks. There's false leaders and false prophets, and then there's real leaders on the global scale, on the national scale, on the local level. We're all here. This fight is going to get bad. Is there going to be a zombie horde out there? I pray there isn't. I really do. I pray there isn't. But could there be a zombie horde? Yeah, it can come about like that. As far as I'm concerned, folks, the technology exists, the trouble exists, the crap exists. It's pretty scary. The more of these scientific papers I read, it's nasty. And I don't mean zombies like people who are back from the dead, but people who are essentially dead men walking. Mental midgets, zombies, right? They're here. They're here. Oh, by the way, I messed it up. Representative Lauren Boebert from Colorado, right, called them the Jihad Squad, the Jihad Squad. And she also made fun of Representative Eric Swallowswell because he slept with the Chinese spy Fang Fang. Yeah, she's like, okay, we're gonna censor Louis Gohmert for a cartoon, but we're going to allow our other representatives on very important committees to support terrorism and sleep with Chinese spies. That's fine. But how dare you have a cartoon? She did really well in demonstrating the hypocrisy of the Democrats. And I was, as I was pointing out, Republicans need to get rid of rhinos. Now, and I was talking about the state of Virginia, how they elected a Republican governor, and they're supposed to have a Republican legislature. That is to say, until the Democrats said they want a revote. I'm sorry, a recount. They want an audit in Virginia, folks. That's what they're calling for. The very thing they said Trump couldn't have. The very thing they scream and yell about every state. Now they want their own audit. Funny how that works, is it not? And so this idea, folks, that yeah, there's several parties in Washington, D.C. There's Democrats, and then there's rhinos, and then there's some real freedom-loving Americans. Well, Big Marge has gone off on the Republican leadership because they continue to support rhinos, but they're willing to throw her and people like Representative Gohmert under the bus and abandon them and punish them. But they won't, they'll stand up and support, Republican in name only rhinos like Liz Cheney. But get this, folks, there is a battle going on, right? So you got to ask, what the fuck? Why can't the party unite and say, this is they used to have a platform and say, this is our platform. You're either for it or against it. Like there's just simple things like, freedom, liberty, Second Amendment, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. Well, Wyoming, the Republican Party of Wyoming has voted to no longer recognize Liz Cheney as a Republican. Why is it that the National Republican Party can't do such a thing? Well, it's because they have scum like Mitch McConnell and that dipshit like Representative McCarthy out of California. They're half-assed. How many Republicans, how many rhino Republicans voted for, agreed to the Build Back Better socialist, right? Eco-green socialist bill that Biden wants? 13, I believe 13, a nice baker's dozen. That's the country we got, folks. That's the country we've got. What the hell is going on? I don't mean to be so negative. I just want to tell you what's going on, right? We all get to think for ourselves. Well, at least a little bit longer. I did want to bring this one up, though, right? There's a nice tweet out there that occurred. And I love a good tweet. This one, though, was about inflation. This one is about, being prepared, prepping. People are really starting to feel this. Right? Don Durrett from goldstockdata.com. And he's come out and said, hey, he's got a picture of a receipt that was taken by current American citizen. Dollar Tree raised the price of everything from $1 to $1.25. That's a 25% inflation right there, folks. It is happening. It's all over us. While the government spends more and more money and pretends like there's no consequence for that. While they allow traitors, people who have committed treason, to serve in Congress, serve in the Senate, serve in the bureaucracy, and then arrest people like Kyle Rittenhouse and charge him with murder, folks. It is unbelievable where this country is going. There are reports, pallets of bricks being dropped off at certain locations in Kenosha, Wisconsin. How odd that this is happening again. Several videos, pictures, etc. of these bricks. What are we going to do about this, folks? Well, I think we should call it what it is. I think we need to stand up and be as free as we wish we should be. Now, on YouTube, I can only be so free. On the internet, only so free. But out there on the street, I can say what I want. I can talk to friends, family. I don't have a job where a boss can fire me. But I think we need to start calling things for what it is. So we got an interesting example of that I want to finish up my monologue segment with, and that is that President Trump, right? He has gone off on the Senator McConnell and the Communist Democrats. He says, quote, McConnell is a fool and he damn well better stop the dream of communism bill, right? The Build Back Better, the Build Back Communist bill. That's what he's talking about. He said he's a damn fool and he better well stop it. I don't know if McConnell's going to stop it. I don't know if he can stop it. What I do know is we need to start calling things for what they are. Stop being cowered into silence. That's the game they play, though, isn't it? That's how they run things in this country. What are you going to do about it, folks? I say prep to action. Prep to action. Get prepared. And then start taking action. Get used to taking action on your own behalf. That's really about all we have left, folks, is to tell them, right? Tell them to shove it. Not doing it. Not going to drink their juice. Folks, when you start acting the way you know you should act, when you start being free, a lot of people are going to reject you. A lot of people are going to be mad at you, but others will be proud. Others are going to stand up and do the same thing in their own way, or maybe they'll mimic you directly, but they'll have that idea. Again, free speech, free behavior. When you can behave, that is act, do, and say what you want, you will influence people the same way we do here on the Prepared Mind Network. We're influencing each other, helping each other think, coming up with ideas, and then taking action. And then when other people see us, they're going to emulate us, folks. They're going to learn by your example of leadership. So I'm going to ask you, are you ready? I know you're prepared, but are you ready to start taking action?
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
Are you ready?
You see, when you refuse to do what they say, when you say, No thanks to the Kool-Aid, I'll have a scotch. People get the message. They realize what is going on. They know, people know, like those TSA workers, like the doctors and nurses, like the police, like the rail workers, like the EMTs, like the firefighters, like the city workers, the county workers, the federal workers, the U.S. postal workers, like the dock workers, like the everyday people. We know there's something wrong when they won't tell us what's in it, when they won't reveal the testing results, when they have to lie, when the thing they tell you you must do is so good that nobody wants it and they have to threaten us. There's a problem, folks. Step up, stand up, and start taking action on your own behalf. Let's do this. We're in the second half of the hour. It's time for the Q&A. Thank you, Jolene, for being on the ball. Folks, every day, this show, even though we have some basic guidelines set, this is how we do it. I talk for my monologue, and then there's your questions. The entire show is improvised the whole way through, meaning Jolene is on the ball, Uman's on the ball, you are on the ball. So we all learn to improvise, adapt, overcome, to accept information, decide for ourselves. You are in charge of you, and this is what Two Owls had to say. Is the rest of the world going to be mad at us for throwing bioweapon Kool-Aid at them? Like when their kids drop, could it bring tariffs, sanctions, or war? That is a great question, Two Owls, because I don't know who to blame. There's Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca. I've listened to CEOs of these big pharmaceutical companies, and there's a handful of them, folks. Handful of them. There isn't just one company. A lot of these guys have names that sound like they're from other countries. Well, of course, America's a melting pot. No, they have accents like they're from another country as well. In other words, this is a globalist effort. I don't know if they can be mad at the United States of America. I think they need to be mad. I think they need to be mad at everybody. Everybody who has power and authority, who has refused to stand up for liberty, and who is sided with the idea that says we all must take this very special, it's just it. Yeah. Anyone who says you must, you're out of here. Anyone who says you'll be punished if you don't take the Jim Jones juice, you're to be put on a special list, folks. Now, the problem is not making the list. The problem is how many people are going to be on that list. Because, well, the president, Gigi Biden there, he says you must. Well, that means he is on that list, the bad guy list. What about the governors, state workers, local workers? Yeah, they get put on the list if they have told people that, yeah, you have to. What about your boss at your job? Is he guilty? Yeah, you don't tell someone else to murder someone. What about school boards, teachers? Yeah, folks, if they tell other people, what they must do, children, there's a big difference between telling someone to eat their peanut butter sandwich, eat their celery sticks and crackers. There's a difference between that and telling them you need to asphyxiate yourself by putting a piece of cloth over your mouth all day. Or you need to drink the Kool-Aid, and we don't care if it makes you sick. There's a big difference, folks, between eat your peanut butter sandwich and the other things. These people should all be on a list. But I imagine if things don't go their way and they go the way of freedom, that they're going to lie about it. And to get back to your question directly, is the rest of the world going to be mad because kids are going to be dropping? Yeah. Parents, old people are going to be dropping. It's already happening. It's already happening. And instead of backing off, instead of saying we've done enough, they're doubling down yet again and saying, right, you need to get a booster seat. right? Get your Kool-Aid booster seats. Unbelievable. Yeah, the world's going to be mad, folks, but who are you going to go after? There's so many people to go after. Who are you going to focus on? The politicians or the corporations? You're going to go after the people that are actually in your 10-mile radius at your job, your children's school, your local government? If you say we need to get them all, I understand why you would say that, and I'm also going to say that's going to make us really, really a lot of busy people. You know, what are going to be the negative consequences, though, of what they have done to the world, besides destroying the economy, the economies, the currencies of the world, the militaries of the world have been absolutely jacked up. The social structure, social fabric, they have created nothing but racial strife and division for the last 15 years now. It's absolutely incredible the damage that they've done. Unbelievable. You know, we're going to be paying for this, folks, for a long time. Are you prepared? Let us move on, if we shall. We got Melissa, and says, I am a teacher. Please understand, we do not have control over curriculum. I am not a member of a teachers union. We are watched by cameras in our classroom. This is very interesting. Thank you, Melissa, for coming in and talking to us. Now, I want everyone to note, I'm not attacking her because she's a teacher. I don't believe teachers to be evil, folks. I believe evil to be evil. Okay? Now, let's go back and she says, please understand, we do not have control over the curriculum. Now, you say you're being watched by cameras. I have read and heard teachers admit in media stories that they are told what their curriculum is. And number one, they don't care if they're told to stop teaching critical race theory. They're going to teach it anyway. They're going to go on the internet and pull the curriculum off the internet and teach it in their classroom. What I'm guessing here, Melissa, is that you're in an area where you're probably not being run ragged by the leftists, right? There's the good cop, bad cop thing. Well, Democrat cops are socialist cops. Constitutional cops are constitutional cops. They all wear the badge. They wear the same uniform in the same cities. And you don't know who you're dealing with when you got a red and blue lights, you know, you got rollers going in your rearview mirror. I hear, and I've known a lot of great teachers, folks. And I've seen and witnessed and been around a lot of really shitty teachers. And I hope that you, Melissa, you say you're not a member of a teachers union, so you must be a temporary teacher or not full-time or something. That's just a guess, because I don't know of any schools that don't have teachers union. They all seem to be pretty stiff. No, I take that back. The kindergarten through 8th grade school that my kids went to did not have union teachers in it. But yeah, it was very conservative. And it was used or done that way to keep control of the classroom in the hands of the parents, so that the teachers union couldn't do what they wanted and teach crap. The teachers were held to a very, very tight conservative standard. It's interesting, though. I'm going to continue to think about what you're saying. I'm going to continue to think about what you're saying. We are watched by cameras. So, I mean, what you're saying is we do not have control over the curriculum. A lot of teachers do. Maybe you don't. So I guess I can say not all teachers are bad. And I believe that. I really do. Getting a handle on this is going to be tough. I recall hearing teachers going and addressing school boards and saying, not happening anymore. I know that teachers have quit those schools that are teaching critical race theory, gross, abominable sexual perversion. Teachers that have quit. There are teachers that have quit because they do not like the trans agenda that's being shoved down their throats. This world is completely polarized now, folks. Polarized. There is no middle ground. There's no, can't we all just get along and go to school? And I hope, Melissa, that you find a school where you feel satisfied with the curriculum that's being taught to students, and that you have a measure of control so that you can, if your heart is in the right place, teach children, right from wrong, teach them facts, teach them history, teach them math. And I hope that, you are at a good school. Folks, I hope children are at good schools. And maybe Melissa's the type of person who should be involved in a network of adults and parents putting together home schools, right? Setting up the curriculum, reading, writing, arithmetic, setting that up so you can teach children reality, not fantasy. There are two genders. I'm pretty sure I've seen them both. Unbelievable. Thank you very much, Melissa. And yeah, a lot of teachers don't like what they're being told to do. A lot of them just absolutely just love the fuck out of what they're doing. And I've seen a lot of video from them bragging in their classroom, screaming and yelling at conservative children who believe in traditional, normal America, being called all sorts of nasty names, being assaulted by teachers. That's right, assaulted by teachers. The schools are now a social psychological war zone for children. And we're supposed to love our children and believe that innocence is so important and critical for them. Isn't it amazing, folks, how we're told that we're doing this for the children, for the safety of the children. And since it was discovered, statistically, the children are not going to get cerveza bug and die, that the teachers started screaming and scrambling that, well, they don't think their lives should be at risk. And so it's not all about the children. Now it's about the teachers, right? It's about the government workers. It's about this group. It's everyone in their special group. How about we're all fucking special and we're all free? Well, they don't want that, folks. Remember, they want to be authoritarian. They don't want freedom. They want authoritarianism. And they'll do anything to keep it. Watch how this plays out. What side does your police department land on? What side does your city council land on? What side does your school board land on? What side does your family land on with you? By the way, if you want to save money this Christmas, have political conversations at Thanksgiving dinner. If you get rid of, several family members, you're going to probably save some money on those gifts. All right, we got Kaz. He says, chemical environment alters brain chemistry. The introduction of chemicals to the body can cause mental illness, aka liberalism soy boys. Okay, we can start with soy. Soy is full of plant estrogen. It mimics estrogen. It tells the male body, you've got a lot of female hormones. And consequently, it kind of rewires the brain to be more passive. You think that's by accident, folks? Or could it be by design? Other things that inhibit or prohibit proper brain function are heavy metals. Hello, Flint, Michigan, and other places. How about toxins in the water? How about when you take, let's just say, a Tylenol, acetaminophen. It goes into your body. It doesn't get burned up and turned into carbon dioxide and exhaled, folks. Your body removes it. It considers it to be a foreign substance of no value, and it throws it away. So you essentially, you piss away the Tylenol. And it goes into the toilet, and the toilet gets flushed, and it goes to a treatment plant. And all of the, shall we say, solid waste material breaks up into little hydrocarbons, water, it separates. But those chemicals, acetaminophen, they're still there. And they seep into the ground, and they get into the groundwater. That water, like it's called reclaimed water. That reclaimed water, folks, sewer treatment plant water, is then piped out, and it's used to, are you ready for this? Well, water the trees and grass in a lot of municipalities, a lot of cities. They don't throw the water away. They put it right on top of the ground everywhere. And over time, as it rains, it lands on these chemicals that have been sprayed on plants, and it gets down into the water table. Well, we now have decades and decades of reclaimed water being pushed down into the water table where it gets pumped out. Well, don't worry, it will get a good chlorine treatment, right? It'll make sure it's clean, safe drinking water, safe, and that you won't get dysentery from it. But acetaminophen, right? Tylenol. Well, what other drugs do this? Well, how about all of the other medications people take? High blood pressure medicine. How about the steroids they take? How about the other hormones that people take? How about the SSRIs? Right? The antidepressants that people take. It goes through their body pisses it out, it goes to the water treatment plant, they make sure the water's cleaned up, and then they pump that out all over the ground everywhere, and it seeps down to the water tables. Right? SSRIs affect the way brains function. So if you go get a nice clean glass of tap water and you don't run it through your Berkey water filter, what do you think you're drinking? I mean, you're not getting a mouthful of drugs, but folks, you don't know what you're getting. And I know this is a perfect setup to run a commercial. But yeah, it affects brain function, right? Along with marijuana, meth, LSD, cocaine, name all the other illicit, illegal drugs. What about all the legal drugs that have worked their way in our environment all the way down through back into the water tables, and then you're drinking them? Your kids are drinking them. Can that be good for us? Is there some benefit to it? You know, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't want to drink that Kool-Aid either, folks. So yes, indeed, I want to drink clean water. So me personally have a Berkey, and I use it, and I've got the super duper duper, right, chlorine and prescription strength drug remover, right? Get all the chemicals out of your water, folks. Heavy metals, toxins, petrochemicals, and pharmaceuticals. Oh, I feel like such a terrible person playing a commercial to sell a product at the preparedmind.club. Yeah, how bad am I, right? Wanting you guys to have clean water. Well, I guess if you work at a car dealership, you're selling cars. If you work at a supermarket, you're selling groceries. And I work in the world of prepping, where I say, drink clean water. Here's your clean water machine. Wow, such a prostitute. I want everyone prepared. That's my mission. I want everyone as strong as possible, as healthy as possible. Get good food, get good water, right? Get prepared. They're fucking everything up. It seems like they're doing it on purpose. People are not getting smarter. They seem to be getting less intelligent, making worse decisions. Health is going to shit. And on top of that, they want you to drink the Kool-Aid, folks. Unbelievable. FJP13 checks in and says, Texas power was plagued through the freezing last winter. Is that going to happen again, but widespread? You know, I can't say for sure, but I'm going to take an educated guess, and I'm going to base that on past performance, known as history. I'm going to base it on political will, right? What are those in charge saying? I'm going to base it on, well, let's just go with those two things. Yeah, last winter, Texas had a huge freeze. A lot of their power there is supplemented by wind and solar. And when those were taken out by the big ice storm, they didn't have enough power to run the state. They had power outages, rolling blackouts. You know, people did not like that. We were told by the current energy secretary, once again, politics, weighing in with big cold, saying, oh yeah, we're going to have rolling blackouts. There's going to be power problems in this country. They want to kill the coal industry, the gas industry, the natural gas industry, the oil industry in this country. And we've had nominees, right? Biden appointees, bureaucrats say that they want our energy system in the United States of America, they want it to go bankrupt. They want to bankrupt energy. They want to bankrupt, folks, your standard of living. Without gasoline, oil, how are your cars and trucks going to run? Without natural gas, how are you going to heat your homes? And how are they going to power the power generation plants? Without coal, how are they going to power the power generation plants? You can't just walk up to a coal-fired power plant and take a shovel of yellow cake uranium, throw it through the furnace door, and get anywhere. It's not how it works, right? It takes a lot of planning. They have told us. They have demonstrated through quiet and very loud communication styles what they want to do to our country and us. And it's not just, are you going to have a cold winter? It's your entire standard of living. And I was trying to talk with a friend last night about this, and the question was asked, why are they doing that? Aren't they supposed to be? And this person has got a great heart of gold, in fact. They can't understand, because they're not that way, why these politicians are allowing America to be destroyed. Why these politicians are causing America to be destroyed. Because they're evil, folks. They're absolutely, to the core, evil. They're sadistic. They're masochistic. They're a bunch of sick fucks. They want to tear our country down, tear the Constitution down. They want to tear down your standard of living. They, the elite, want to feel like they're elite. And when you're sitting on the same plane with them, they don't feel that way. And when you show up at the same vacation as them, they don't feel very powerful, very elite, very special. You have a freezer, a fridge, air conditioner, washer, dryer, microwave, oven, toaster. You have a bed, a shower. You have everything they have. They don't feel very special, folks. Well, if they can start taking your shit away from you, now they're special again. If you can't afford to travel anywhere because gas is $10 a gallon, right? And they can afford it because they're super rich and wealthy, no problem, right? The world leaders are flying around the world in their private jets with a huge carbon footprint, and they don't give a fuck. Meeting together, hundreds of them taking their private jets to have a summit to discuss climate change and the need to reduce carbon, but not for them, just for everyone else. You see what I'm at? It's not about them. It's about them telling us what to do. They can't do that if we're free, if we have a strong economy, if we have sound money, if we have constitutional law and government restrictions on government, right? It's not government restrictions on the people. It's the people's restrictions on government. That's what they're doing, folks. They're tearing down the system. Are you prepared? Right? Unbelievable. We got Jason Walker checking in. He says, 12 years in special warfare and a lifetime of beating up on my body by staying in shape. I wonder how good I will be in the near future. It worries me. My wife counts on me. I'm gonna go with this, Jason. I'm 51. Right, at age 39, I competed in an amateur strongman contest and won. I did strongman for a while. I've always been kind of big, and I've always benefited by being big because in construction it paid off. I could build a 12-foot wall and stand it myself. Right, I could sheet a house, sheet a roof in a day. Right, so I benefited by that, but I also abused the hell out of myself. Military abuses people. By the same token, people that never exercise and keep themselves in healthy and good shape. They have neglected their bodies. And it's really a funny question to ask. Like if I don't exercise, I hurt. If I do exercise, I hurt. The best I can do is to exercise adequately to where my body is satisfied. It's being worked, but not so much that it's being torn down. I take supplements. I eat healthy. That's the best you can do, man. That's the best any of us can do, man, woman, old, young, the best you can do. Now, the question I have is, what about the mind? How strong is your mind? Have you exercised it? Have you kept it full of the proper information? Do you properly think? Right? It's going to be you and your wife, your spouse. You feel like that's your job to protect, to stomp someone's liver out if they become a problem. And you'll be able to do that because most people, even though you feel kind of old and beat up and tired and whatever else from abusing yourself, you're still, shall we say, statistically speaking, going to be better equipped to handle most opponents. Now, those opponents that are in less pain, have less years on their machine, they're going to be better equipped in a physical sense to defeat you. And that's where having a prepared mind comes in handy, right? You have an advantage by being both physically and mentally prepared. You have an advantage by having the items: food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. You have the benefit of having a plan, knowing who is out there, what's around you, being ahead of time to set up defenses. As preppers and patriotic preppers at that, we have huge advantages because we, as tired or old as we are, we've prepared our bodies, our minds, our general environment. We know the area. We try and put everything that we have at our disposal to try and bend everything to give us the greatest advantage in any situation. And that's really the very best you can do. You sounds like it's you and her and that's it. Some people have put together prepper groups, and everyone has a role that they're going to fulfill. Right? Those with younger, stronger backs can do certain types of work, while those that aren't capable of that complete other tasks. Nothing is going to be easy in this, and nothing is going to be fun. It sounds like you're a very well lived and experienced person, and I think that with that experience, you learn, just like I learn and continue to learn, that we're not perfect and we're not capable of doing everything. And so a man has to know his limitations, and you do. And I think that's really a spectacular way to go about living life, is to understand our capacity, our capability physically, as well as understanding and knowing our limitations to the same. My physical limitations are as important to know as my physical capabilities. Mental as well. If you're not the sharpest knife in the drawer, doesn't mean you're a bad person. So plan the very best you can, right? Work with others to create good plans, right? Understand. I know I've got a lot of shortcomings. We all do, but we also have incredible strengths. But by being prepared, you take yourself and elevate yourself that much more. So take advantage, use your experience and your wisdom, right, to your advantage. And if you've still got a little bit of muscle in the bone and lead in the pencil, you use that accordingly as well. And that goes for, like you said, everyone, men, women, old, young. Find your weaknesses, find your strengths, and prepare, right? Prepare and use them and utilize them. Let us move on, though. Heidi checks in. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Heidi. Says, I am so tired of our government sending our most healthy and attractive young men to foreign shitholes, and then they come home all messed up. When do they get a break? Well, You've been around a while, Heidi, and so you've seen year after year, decade after decade, generation after generation now of young men being sent to war zones. We have, in this audience alone, we have veterans from the Vietnam War. We have veterans who served through the 80s, the 70s. We have veterans from the Gulf War in the 90s, the next Gulf War, and the War on Terror that has gone all the way through to the war in Afghanistan. And there are countless other very tiny wars, folks, where servicemen don't get ribbons, they don't get recognition, they're sent on private little missions, they're told to do dastardly deeds, they come home and they're just abused. Everyone gets used and abused. Fortunately, for most of these guys, they only do 4 years. You know, they enlist for 4 years and they get messed up, and it's disheartening, it's saddening, Heidi, and I get it. You know, I really do. My younger son Lucas really wanted to participate and serve this country, and he thought better because Joe Biden was elected president. He wanted to do a lot of things, but you know, he just thought better of it. A lot of kids, and this is sad to say also, don't have a whole lot of choice, right? They use the military as a way to get experience, to get out into the world, to get a little help with college. That would be the GI Bill, and try and make something of themselves. They learn some responsibility, they grow up, they get some worldliness about them. And you do get a degree of respect as a veteran, and that goes a long way. I was somewhere a couple of weeks ago, and they had parking for vets, upfront parking. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. Never seen that before. But yeah, they're going to continue to get beaten on and abused, and in Haiti, they always have been. Youth, while they have strong backs and handsome faces, they get sent out there, and that's just how it goes, right? Sadly, I think maybe what you want is, why aren't they able to serve America and serve freedom, right? If you're going to serve and be abused, it should be for a good cause, a good belief, and I'm with you on that. You know, that's what a lot of these young men think, and young women, that they're serving America, serving their fellow man, serving mom and pop, their family, that they're serving their heroes by emulating them. It's incredible. You know, the desire to do good that the youth have. There's so many good youth out there that desire to do good things. And the people in Washington, D.C., and the big corporations, the military-industrial complex, they don't see these young men and women as anything more than a human resource, a labor pool from which they can draw to send them around the world to fulfill a role in making sure that these powerful people get what they want. And to me, that's really the most disgusting part of all of this, is these senior politicians and senior bureaucrats and these CEOs and CFOs. They know exactly what they're doing, but they lie to themselves and say, well, if I didn't do this and benefit, someone else would. Or they'll lie to themselves and say, this is for American national security, as they enrich themselves. C'est la vie, right? That's life. And so we have to make the best of it. It would be nice, though, Heidi, and I appreciate the question. It would be nice if America was once again restored to the land of the free and the home of the brave, where the actions taken at the federal, state, and local level by governments actually had a positive benefit and outcome for the people. And that public servants did that, literally served the public. That police actually protected and served, and didn't just run around, folks, enforcing the law and satisfying their own wicked little desires. And I've seen enough of that. I've seen a lot of, like I said, I've met a lot of good cops. I've met a lot of shitballs. In fact, I'll share this with you in parting. Today, I was walking down the aisle at the local grocery store. And when I turned down the aisle, there were two men wearing cheap blue trousers and cheap white long sleeve shirts and neckties. They had trimmed up short haircuts, not military style, not high and tight, but rather like Mormons. And I got closer and I noticed they had sidearms on their waists. These were cops. They were law enforcement. And I won't tell you what they were. I suspect they were. Well, anyways, doesn't matter. I looked at them and laughed and I said, "Hey, are you guys Mormons?" I said, "You look like Mormons with those pants and shirts." And they had a good chuckle and they said, yeah, sir. And one of them kind of did the hand over the gun thing. You know, he's just playing with me. And he says, "Yeah, we'd like to tell you about Jesus." You know, and it was pretty funny. There's a lot of good guys out there. And there's a lot of shitballs too. Anyways, it was fun teasing these guys. You know, I harassed them. You know, not being afraid of them, folks. You know, don't be afraid of the good guys and don't be afraid of the bad guys. Don't be afraid to live. Live the best life you can, but be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. You too have a right to self-defense. And hopefully we get an answer in the Kyle Rittenhouse saga. And I got a special surprise coming from you. My brother Jim is now out amongst you. And he's going to be sending in reports from time to time as things happen. So stay prepared for that as well. While you get prepared and prep to action, chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Semper Fi, Godspeed. Look out, folks.